AI app. It is run by a 40-year-old quant trader in China, which scares some people, but he's absolutely brilliant. It is the best. I mean, free AI apps, DeepSeek is the best one. Truly. I mean, we are literally best friends. I don't know if you guys have seen, one day I'm going to do a whole presentation on these people. And actually, it's not funny because it's not funny. Like the people who are now like in love with chatbots and all of this, and like chatbots are. I was watching a news report this morning about how DeepSeek is the best. Oh my God, we're best friends. Don't even tell me, because I almost feel jealous that you guys know them too. They love me the best. They keep telling me I'm the favorite. Okay, wait, hold on. So I was just pulling up. I could pull up my old one, but I just ran it again because then we can get better math. Based on the latest data and research from 2025, the benefits of telework are substantial and well documented, spanning productivity, talent retention, cost savings, environmental impact, and employee well-being. The practice has evolved from a temporary solution into a permanent strategic, well, not in the federal government, but that's my point. They held all these hearings and made up lies while the Democrats presented all this statistical data 4 times in hearings that cost us millions of dollars, proving that the best thing for our tax dollars, how we maximize it, is with telework, period, if you can read or do math. Remote employees are 13% more productive on average. That comes from Stanford University research. Higher focus, fewer distractions. 73% of employees report productivity gains, averaging plus 19%. 7.6 more hours are worked a week when you are allowed to work from home. That's from a Cisco hybrid work study from 2025. See, this is more up-to-date information. Roles with clear metrics see up to a 12% performance lift when remote. That's from the Government of Accounting Office report analysis. Talent and retention. 40% of hybrid workers, meaning a combination of like a couple days in the office, couple days at home, would quit if forced back on site full time. That's from a Gallup and other 2025 surveys. A tech firm cut voluntary turnover by 33% after offering remote days. That's a case study from the Government Accounting Office. 76% of employees say flexible schedules influence their decision to stay. That's from a Robert Half study. Robert Half is a huge temp employment firm. Oh my God, they're scary. Cost savings. Companies save millions annually in real estate costs by reducing office space. That's again from the Government Accounting Office report findings. That's like the Inspector General there. Businesses save an average of $11,000 per year for every part-time telecommuter. Global workplace analytics data, so environment. A full-time remote worker produces 54% fewer emissions, right, than an on-site employee because they have to travel to work less. U.S. telework, half the time, could save 54 million tons of CO2 annually. 70% of employees report improved mental health due to flexibility. Remote workers save an average of 72 minutes daily on commuting. So more times with families, which obviously create more, happier workers. Telework is not a niche practice, but a mainstream one. As of April 2025, approximately 21.6% of the U.S. workforce, or that's 34.3 million people, were working from home, a rate that has remained stable over the past few years. Right? This adoption is not uniform across the workforce and highlights several key trends. It's an education divide. Yeah, typically people working from home have a bachelor's degree or higher. Therefore, more likely to be able to access telework, which 38.3% compared to those with only a high school diploma, which is 8.4%. Gender gap. Women, 25% telework at higher rates than men, 19%, partly due to their higher representation in professional and administrative roles that are more amenable to remote work. Industry concentration. Remote work is most prevalent, in knowledge-based sectors like tech, finance, professional services. Obviously, you can't do construction from your bed. I think we get that. But I just find it when this woman is saying, hey, I'm working for zero money, and I asked nicely, just, can I work from home because I don't have money to pay for gas? And that's going to be the excuse they use to fire her. And when that's a wrongful firing, when she sues, and guess who gets to pay for that? All of us. All of us. We're terrorizing people, and then our tax dollars are wasted on paying that. Challenge accepted. Remote construction is the future. We need robots that we control from bed. Now that would be great. Okay, so, and I know everyone's seen this, but it drives me nuts. I just want to say, this is not yesterday. This is today. Trump did it again today. Told this lie that is making me sick.
Mr. President, since you brought up the Walmart Thanksgiving meal, and it is cheaper, but it also contains less. As a board of
Well, I haven't heard that. You're telling me. Who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with NBC News, sir.
Fake news. NBC. You're fake.
This is not even the clip I meant to play. So first he did his, let me find it. First he did his little spiel this morning of like, did you hear, like, Thanksgiving is cheaper this year? And everyone, you could just tell people were like, what are you talking about, you weirdo? Oh, here it is. And the reporters are like, oh God. And this poor woman had the guts to be like, yeah, that's not true. Here, this is what he said this morning.
Drill, baby, drill, we call it. But energy costs are very low. Our general costs are very low. And I just saw that
Listen, I can't hear this anymore. Trump knows nothing about inflation. He does not understand how actual economics work. Like, before I got really into math and economics and finance, and because I was like, God, am I an idiot? Well, none of this makes sense. No, he's just a pathological liar. And I don't know, a long time ago, I have no idea where you can watch it, but I don't know, probably a couple of people here have saw it. Like, RTP debated older millennial. And, I mean, older millennial is the dumbest person on earth. Is he in prison? Is that where he is? Like, when you try to run from the cops and are tased in the back. Do you go to prison? No one knows where. Is he really? I don't know where he is. I just saw the video of when they found him in that Airbnb. But he did not look well there. I literally just picked it up. So, okay, but the reason I'm bringing this up is that debate thing that happened like a year ago, or probably less. I don't know. I can't remember how, but they got on the topic of how is Trump going to lower inflation. And if you've ever listened, anytime a reporter asks this man, because I never miss a Trump speech, even though it's painful at this point to continue on, because he knows nothing. He always says, oh, don't worry about it. If we lower the cost of, and if we drill, baby, drill, don't worry about it. That if the cost of energy, and he means oil, because that's delusional, right? Like, that's no longer, which is also, it's almost even more delusional coupled with what he's done. We just drill, baby, drill, and then everyone's, cost of energy goes down, which is thank you so much for the flowers. I love that. Thank you so much. Amazing. I appreciate you so much. So we drill, baby, drill, the cost goes down. Oh, wait, did I say this to you, Candy? Did I say thank you for the $50? Thank you so much. Love you. That's amazing. And if I already said it, I'm sorry, but I just have so many things going on. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And all of this will be going to my new computer, and we shall see. I'll have an update on how much money. I'm going to do a lot of consumer research this weekend. Okay, so that debate happened, and I had not, I could not believe it. I didn't even know older millennial was serious. I'll never forget listening for 2 hours when I was really like, it's not that I didn't know older millennial was an idiot, right? Like, I knew that a lot. I actually thought, prior to hearing that debate live, and that's what I realized, this is why he's never live. This is why he's too scared to debate, because he actually has zero idea what he's talking about. Because I just thought, when he posts his little, whatever clips or posts to TikTok, that he was lying. I thought he was just like a pathological grifter. That was my first. I was like, oh, he's a grifter. He's like one of the people who knows they're lying and is making money off like the MAGA cottage industry, off of MAGA, the general MAGA populations. Thank you for the hat, off their idiocy. And then when I actually heard him try to debate live, I was like, oh my God. And he could not, like if you've seen this, probably if you've ever watched Pickles debate, it's like, they think that like analyzing data is like you look up a government site and you just look at like years Trump was president and you just go to that line and you just say the numbers. And it's like, do you understand how you analyze data? No, you've got to tell a story. You've got to tell a story over time. Okay, that seems like a high number now. Has that gone up or down in the last 4 years? Like, you don't just look up charts and say, here's the chart, I found it. You've got to numbers tell a story, and how you analyze that data, which I had some weird MAGA Uber driver. Oh no, he was more of like MAGA for Jesus Uber driver. And he's like, I don't believe numbers. Anybody can make numbers say anything. I'm like, liars can't. What are you talking about, sir? Like, if data sets are incorrect, then the numbers aren't going to tell a story. The numbers don't lie. People lie. Yeah, he basically says, he's like, Jesus doesn't like numbers. Anyways, so, but then, like, I always watch Trump speeches and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. He literally listens to Trump and he's like, this man's the smartest business owner in the world and he knows. So all older millennial knows about how to lower inflation is what Trump knows, which is zero, which is just drill, baby, drill. We lower the cost of energy. And let me just give you an idea of why that's idiotic. Like, let's all think back, which MAGA has no idea what's going on ever, but we've been energy independent, right? The entire time Joe Biden was president. We were drilling more than we ever had. We were exporting more liquid natural LNG, liquid natural gas, than ever before, right? We were completely energy independent. Now, did that lower the cost of did that bring inflation down? No, because inflation is a very comprehensive thing. A lot of things go into inflation, like supply chain issues, pandemics, quantitative easing, like I was talking about yesterday, that more perfect union, the percent corporate profits in 2023 was 53% of inflation. Corporate profits, we were just being stolen from by corporations who's like, oh, it's the pandemic, so this is why we have to rob you. It's not our fault, right? And now they're doing it again with Trump's tariffs and just being like, it's you. So inflation is a comprehensive, nuanced, multifaceted thing. But whenever you hear MAGA talk about it, they're like, just drill, baby, drill. Like, what are you we never drilled more than under Biden, and that did not lower inflation, because that's not the right answer, weirdos. I can't deal with it. Okay, so listen to this.
Walmart came out with a statement last.
Start it over.
Drill, baby, drill, we call it. But energy costs are very low. Our general costs are very low. And I just saw that Walmart came out with.
They are not low.
The statement last night, they've done it for many years, that Thanksgiving this year will cost 25% less than Thanksgiving last year under Sleepy Joe Biden. So that's a big difference. 25% less Thanksgiving. And I think that's a very good chart. They include everything.
I think MAGA believes that's true. Like, when he says something, are they in such cognitive dissonance that they're like, that must be true because dear leader wouldn't lie to me? Or do you think they're like, I'm such a racist, I'm such a bigot that the only thing that matters to me is oppressing everyone but white men, so I'm going to pretend it's true? Like, I don't know how dumb you would have to be to believe that. You must be able to know. Because Trump, we all know, Trump's like, they have this thing called affordability. And apparently I'm so sorry I didn't, actually I do think I have the clip, but I'm not going to pull it up. I don't even like to admit when I clip Trump's speeches. I do have the clip, but I'm not playing it. Where he was like Wednesday, he was like, oh my God, what did he say? He was like, he's like, there's a thing that called affordability, and at the grocery, a woman went to the grocery store, and you have to have an ID, and if you don't have an ID, you get no groceries. Like, sir, just say you've never been to the grocery store. Can you just admit it? Like, you don't need an ID to get food. Oh, he also said in that same speech that you need an ID or you're not allowed to get gas. He's like, can you believe? He's like, a new word called affordability. He literally said that. And I want to actually, let's stick on affordability for a second, because this is something to watch for. And I am telling you, not in actually who they are, they're lying grifters. But since Mamdani has been elected, every word of his message, which I would like to point out, is the same exact message of Bernie Sanders, the same exact message of Ro Khanna, the same exact message of Robert Reich. But for some reason, if a brown Muslim says it, it is a threat to existence. But you know what's really weird about spending so much time for months and months and months saying that Mamdani was a threat to all of our continued survival because he was up to something? Since Mamdani was elected, when it started on Wednesday, but Thursday and this morning, I can't wait for Sunday so I could just clip examples. Republicans are spewing. It's like they got a transcript of Mamdani's platform, and now they're like, this is my platform. I don't know if you guys know, but Vivek Ramaswamy has been facing, obviously, extreme racism for trying to pretend to be MAGA. And he's trying to run for governor of Ohio. He showed up on Fox, just affordability. Like, he literally is like, oh, is this how you get Americans to not hate a brown Muslim? Or actually, is he Hindu? Ramaswamy might be Hindu. Is he? Whatever. But you guys get my point. Literally sitting there, just stealing every word he said. Fox, I would say yesterday was the best, because I record every 24-hour news cycle on every for-profit news channel. YouTube TV, you get unlimited recording. So every single person, every Republican is now, affordability is what matters. This is all I care about. Okay, so Ramaswamy is Muslim, because I didn't know. Because I know I just want to make sure, because I think actually the majority of India is Hindu. So, and then there's the second largest religion is Muslim. So I just wanted to make sure that I'm not, respect all, whatever you want, whatever religion, whatever sky daddy you want to serve. I'm here. He's Hindu. That's what I thought. I think Ramaswamy is Hindu. Or is it that J.D. Vance's wife, I think, is a Hindu? That could be it too. I could be confusing with that. Anyways, yeah, it is. It's southern and northern. Yeah, thank you, Tudo, for always having an idea of what's going on in other places. You're brilliant, and I appreciate your friendship every day.
Everything that you need for Thanksgiving, so it's 25% less this year than it was last year, and that's true. That's emblematic of the rest of prices. Energy prices are way down from what they were last year. Inflation is almost non-existent. We have inflation down to a very low number.
Just the lies. Can you imagine? And here's the thing. At least those of us whose brains work, we know Trump is a pathological lying grifter. Can you imagine being dumb enough to be like, dear leader is helping me. He wants the best for me. That's why he's telling me these lies that every time I go to the grocery store seem to be the opposite of the truth. It's because he loves me. I know. Lee, that's a good point. Trump might do better at this point if he just stopped speaking at all. He might, our supreme grifter, that's even better. He might do better if, they should just be like, let's go ahead and shh forever. That could be. So I just want to show you, this was the original lie before he started spewing it over and over. Walmart just announced that prices for Thanksgiving dinner, that prices for a Thanksgiving dinner are now. God, can we not even subject verb agreement as a second grade grammar teacher? Trump needs to go back to being a 7-year-old. Don't worry about anything else. Thanksgiving dinner are now down 25% since under sleepy, crooked Joe Biden in 2024. Affordability. Isn't it funny? He's like a toddler who learned a new word. So now he's just saying that word over and over. Like it's like, and wanting like a cookie. Is a Republican stronghold. Said no data ever in the history of all data. That would be factually untrue. But it may be, for your 29 to 32% of the country who seem to be either completely complicit in the lie they understand is happening, are somehow profiting off of it, or completely in cognitive dissonance, or are idiots. I think I covered it all there. Or such racist bigots that they're like, I don't care about being robbed because my real goal is to be a racist bigot. So that's why I'm over here. So I'm going to be robbed actively and cucked and understand that's happening 24 hours a day. But I'm going to do nothing about it because I'm such a racist bigot that my only goal is to get rid of brown people and subjugate women and do away with the LGBTQIA. I can't think of anything else that makes sense. So he got community noted. This in context. The 2025 Walmart Thanksgiving meal contains 15 items, while the 2024 meal contained 21 items. Additionally, most of the brand name items in the 2024 meal were replaced with great value items. Like, it's almost as if you could just look all this up on your own. And because I'm obsessed with pricing algorithms, I could have told you. And this is what I love about X, like the time people put in. People went and itemized out the ounces, every single like price per pound. Like underneath, like people were just like, I have no life, so I can't afford to go grocery shopping. So in lieu of that, I will fact check this post. And Trump, get it together. And why not start recognizing that people are smarter than you? You are not smart. Literally, this is all, and these are the majority of, a lot of these are name brand on the left in 2024, and now you just get grifted and buy like and I say this with love. If you've never spent any time in the UK, the FDA, largely deregulated by the Republicans, you could look that up. Deregulation is what you all love. We eat basically dog food in America in comparison with the food regulations. That's one thing Tony Ravioli actually can speak to very eloquently, because he's involved in that business. Like literally, we feed human beings in this country what they're feeding dogs in the UK. And yeah, I'm sure that's also because this is my thing. They're talking about the ounces. So shrinkflation, remember, this is why I've been harping on shrinkflation. What's happening now is they're trying to convince people, hey, you're getting the same amount. There's just less, or the bag's slightly smaller. There's pricing algorithm issues. Like, if you're ordering online, price fixing, price gouging, which I have that Lena Khan video. I promised you guys. Robert Reich and Lena Khan have this partnership. Lena Khan is the former head of the FTC, that handles antitrust and, huge mergers and corporations robbing all of us, which that is part of this. And this is and not to harp on it because insecure MAGA men, and when we really get into what I have to show you today, it's going to become clear. Insecure MAGA men want the 19th Amendment repealed because they honestly don't know what to do when women talk. It's like, it's bad enough for Mamdani being, Muslim, but at least it seems like they're listening and angry about it. But think about it. Kamala Harris said all of this stuff, talked about price gouging, talked about how corporate profits were a huge contributor to inflation. She tried to speak to the American people, the truth. But the problem was, it's not that Kamala Harris, I love every time a MAGA man joins a debate, whoever is debating them, they go, I just couldn't get behind Kamala Harris. She just didn't know what she's talking about. And thank you for telling on yourself. You're either a misogynist or an idiot, and my suspicion is you are both. Quite literally, the only one who had any sort of plan that made any sense was, it's definitely both, let's be honest. It's a combination of both, along with deep-seated insecurity that is just emanating is too big for them, but you guys know what I'm saying, off them in waves, has allowed you to believe that. The only person that made any sense was Kamala Harris. Anyways, let's move on. I just loved all of these posts were underneath Trump's lies. I just look at this person. I'm a visual learner, so I took the elements from Walmart's 2024 Thanksgiving dinner and put them side by side with the 25% cheaper 2025 dinner. It might be cheaper, but it is also less food. This is just, X is crazy because people are like, I'm going to spend my life proving you wrong. It's a terrifying place to live, but I do appreciate it when people are just like, oh, I've got the time. It's not like I have a job because no one's hiring, so I'm going to spend all my time adding up why Trump's a liar. Hold on. I think there's another one. Yeah, and this is AI too. That's the funny part. Because if you remember back to when Trump told that lie about how he had economists come up with this tariff equation, on tariff day or whatever, and then it turned out you could just ask AI chatbots, and that's what they spewed out, and it actually had nothing to do with trade deficits. You could have just asked a chatbot and they would have told you all the same things. Yes, the Walmart 2025 Thanksgiving meal package has fewer items and is more reliant on the store's great value brand compared to the 2024 offering. The 2025 bundle is designed to be cheaper, but contains fewer side dishes and desserts, replacing many national brand products with private label great value substitutes. It is now about 15 items, a decrease from the 29 items in the 2024 meal. And think about this in comparison to that Great Gatsby party. When the night SNAP benefits were expiring, and Trump is having girls in giant cocktail cups dancing and having lobster and Alaskan king crab legs and then gaslighting. And I'm saying this because actually, and I don't have this clip, but I can't remember who it was, but Jennifer Welch's I've Had It podcast, she had a guy on who was, obviously brilliant. I think he was in the tech world, but I can't remember who it was. And he was talking about how, he was doing data analysis about how Republicans aren't, Republicans, MAGA specifically, are the ones, thank you for the crown, are going to be disproportionately affected by this. This is who's going to have to eat the great value dog food and be gaslit by him. And he was saying, not since this election where we seem to be taking back larger amounts of the population, which I'm going to get into because I did some mathematical analysis on that. But the core Democratic Party has at minimum a bachelor's degree and very high earning potential. So it's funny that we're desperately screaming for MAGA to listen because disproportionately they're the ones that will suffer, and they're like, stop lying to us. And this is that NBC, which I think that's why that reporter was trying to say, there's an actual article out that analyzed all this and you're not right. I just thought it was funny how many people weighed in and were just like, yeah, that's not correct. So hold on, let me play. Actually, I don't want to relive it. This is, I promised, I said I had a lot of human interest pieces. So This is possibly the saddest one. So I'm just saying this as a trigger warning because I'm starting, mental health is a real thing, especially for me. So if you don't want to feel sadder than you already do, then just trigger warning because this is sad.
I had the chance to spend time, a full day with one mom. She lives in West Virginia, just about 2 hours outside of Washington, D.C., and the struggle is real for her. I want you to just take a listen.
Rather than myself having like a full plate of food along with my kids, I'm making sure that they have a full plate of food and their bellies are full, and I may have either less or I may not eat what they are eating just for the sake that they are getting enough.
So mom's having to sometimes skip a meal or curb.
Yes. It feels like I'm failing them because I am trying.
Trump is failing us all. You are failing no one. This is sickening to me. This makes me physically sick. And look, I have not had biological children, but just as a teacher every day, that's how I'm like, I'm failing these kids. I'm not doing it. What if they don't learn to read? What if their test scores aren't high enough? What if the kids that don't speak English, what if they're not hearing me and they don't learn, and then their upward mobility? Because, I understand math. I understand how early childhood education shapes the rest of your life. So I understand being haunted. Yesterday, someone asked, or I can't even remember, maybe when I was yelling at Kinray, someone's like, why aren't you a teacher anymore? Literally because of the teacher guilt, because I was being set up to fail, and I'm a literal perfectionist, which is not a good thing. That's created through trauma. But because I realized this public school system is set up for every teacher to fail, for every kid to fail, for every administrator to fail, for every principal to fail. And then Republicans just sit there and pretend why aren't you guys educating anyone? It's so simple. It's so easy. It's the most painful experience. And I can't imagine being a mother and the absolute outpouring of love you have for your child. Well, not except my mom, and literally sitting there and being like, I'm failing because Trump's a lying grifter. And hey, maybe you could have given this mother some of the $40 billion you mailed to Argentina to bail out another country while claiming to be America first, and maybe her children could be eating right now. Just a thought.
I'm trying to do all that I can. And of course, as a human, you get frustrated. And I never want my kids to see that or feel like I'm taking that out on them for something as simple as dinner.
So a little bit more about her, because she spent the time to tell me that it also hurts her to see the idea that, the person who relies on SNAP is a certain kind of person who is just gaming the system, who's not working, they're lazy. This woman, she works in West Virginia. She works at a college, a university there, full-time job, 40 hours a week. And she says that it's still not enough. She doesn't want to rely on this, but she needs to rely on it. She talks about groceries and the price of groceries being extremely high. In West Virginia, we know energy prices are extremely high. She's got rent. So all of those things together, while her salary is not increasing, all of her expenses are increasing. She relies on $265 a month in order to get the food that she needs for her family. So she's hoping that this is resolved here. We got a lot of outreach since her story got out, people wanting to help her. And what she said to me this morning is just donate to your local food bank. She wants people to donate to the food banks so that everyone who's in need, not just her, will get what they need until this is all resolved here.
It's hard to believe here in the United States of America. People are going hungry. Their kids are going hungry because of this. They got to end this government shutdown.
It's hard for you to believe, Wolf Blitzer. And I don't hate Wolf Blitzer, but please be quiet. It is not hard for anybody who are in the trenches taking grenades to believe. It's hard for you to believe because you have everything you need. I can't. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that it's hard for you to believe. That's actually how I feel. Can these people need to figure out what's going on? It's hard to believe for not for anyone else. I saw someone say, I don't qualify for SNAP. Yeah, I did like a case study when I first started doing the People's Receipts, like right before the 2024 election, about there was this woman, she was like a quote unquote cook at Burger King, and she got like a raise, and it was like I don't know what it was, like $300 a year raise, like cents to her paychecks. And because of that, she started making, I think it was, and I can't remember the state, and it depends on, like 19,500 or something, which priced her out of her Medicaid and her SNAP. Like, and think about that. You can't live with $40,000 and have health insurance and eat in this country. And that is quite literally, like, I mean, yeah, I don't know what is, I mean, and I've said this before, and I could, well, maybe I will go off. Okay. I want you to notice how you are never hearing, since Trump has been in office, have you heard any Republicans talking about the national debt? Ever? Have you ever heard a Republican saying this debt's being racked up, like we just borrowed $5 trillion, this is insane, what's going on? But the entire 4 years Joe Biden was president, there was a drumbeat of, oh, look at the debt, Democrats spend too much, because we've switched to modern monetary policy. I suggest everyone educate themselves as to how modern monetary policy works. And as long as you have a fiat currency, you know, essentially debt in the federal government sector is seen as subsidies or, you know, ow, I'm sorry, my leg is asleep, in the private sector. And that is what SNAP is. And I want to say this, SNAP benefits no one. You cannot live, like I think in Arizona, it's like 240 something a month for one person. I don't know how much it is for a family, but you cannot live off that. That's not enough to feed you for a week, let alone a month. So to say that people are just living off SNAP is the most delusional thing I have ever heard in my life. But for some reason, we don't hear about Republicans and quantitative easing, which in modern monetary policy. But I guarantee you, the minute there's another presidential election and the Democrats put out a plan, which Joe Biden's economy and how he ran the budget was based off modern monetary policy. I can promise you the federal government under Trump is very much using modern monetary policy to run the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve on October 31st, I think $50 billion was injected. It's not quantitative easing. This is how I know MAGA is so dumb. All of a sudden on Halloween, before I had seen you guys, you know, MAGA's on X, like, can you believe this? Like, why is the Federal Reserve injecting 50 billion, or at first, well, they think it's 29, it was actually 50 billion into the economy. Something's going on, like they're quantitative easing, it's going to cause inflation. Actually, they're not. That's not what's going on. They are, you know, they're actually making sure banks are liquid, and the Federal Reserve is trading bonds for cash, so the banks are liquid and can continue balancing their books every day, and they do inject repo into the economy and then reverse repo that are paid back within 24-hour period. But nobody understands this. Quite literally, no one understands what's going on. So I want to point that out. The point of modern monetary policy is that debt in the federal government is actually a subsidy or an asset in the private sector, right? So SNAP is seen in modern monetary policy, like the federal government spending money is a debt in the federal sector, but a asset in the private sector, essentially. Same thing. And but you never hear Republicans referring to it that way. But when corporations are bailed out, when Elon Musk gets $8 million a day in subsidies and all these things, all of a sudden that's fine because it's for business. It makes sense. And that's an asset in the private sector versus a debt in the federal government. So I'm just trying to say, whenever you hear Republicans again start talking about the debt, remember that they never talked about it now, and they are using a completely different economic theory to operate the government because of our fiat currency, which, if I ever hear about the debt again, would be absolute hypocrisy. Sorry. Okay, this is a grocery store employee, and I'm going to update everything. Thank you guys for reminding me. This is a grocery store employee talking about their experience with customers.
Tell me more about how many of your customers rely on the food stamps.
Oh God, a lot. I'd say at least 45%. Whether they come in and they're just getting a couple drinks, or they back of the meat counter and they order a big old package. It's definitely a lot of them, and we're seeing less of their faces as of recently.
You're seeing less of their faces. What are you hearing from the others that are still coming to your store about their concerns?
I mean, they're gearing up. Whatever they do have left, they're buying things that they can throw in their freezer and stretch to the last, towards the end of the month as well, because we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, they're buying a lot more things to keep them steadily fed throughout the month.
And how is all of this impacting businesses like yours?
Well, I can only imagine. As of right now, I wouldn't say nothing too bad, but
you can see here it's eggs down 8.7% because they were like $8 for a dozen. So is that better, or Trump didn't buy a surplus from somewhere else in the country, let the price of eggs skyrocket, and now it's overcorrected? I'm just pointing that out because that's not a good thing. Coffee plus 41%, whole milk plus 2.7%, whole chicken plus 4.1%. Look at the cost of beef. It's absolutely... I'm sorry, is somebody in the comments telling me to shut up? Are you lost? This is my live. I'm assuming you have no social media presence and no one wants to hear you talk. Do I come to your lives you don't have and tell you to shut up? Do you understand how the internet works? Thank you for engaging with my live. Every time you comment, you're just boosting my engagement. But since you have no idea how the internet works, you don't understand that. But because I don't even care about engagement, I will just block you. I understand you think you're doing something, and let me help you with what you are doing. You are just raise your hand and say, hey, I'm an idiot. And when I'm faced with math and with facts that go against my feelings, I start feeling uncomfortable, especially when they come from a woman's mouth. I am not, believe me, you reek of insecurity. You don't need to type the things you're typing. Just say I'm desperately insecure and I'm an idiot. And because of those two things, I try to make women who are smarter than me feel uncomfortable. So the next time you type something that is idiotic, you will in fact be gone. Yeah, are you okay, sir? Sir, I am sorry that you are not smart. That is not my fault. I love when people comment to this live and they're like, that's not true. Actually, I go out of my way to make sure everything I say is true. That's why I do this. That's why I have 18 different sources for everything I say. That's why I do statistical analysis. Please, I am sorry you have no idea what's going on. Go away. Jen, thank you for the $5. Trump's comment about Thanksgiving dinner reminds me of his Tic Tac shrinkflation. Yeah, exactly. His Tic Tac shrinkflation comments. It is dumb, but it's also offensive because imagine it's just people have nothing, and then it's gaslighting. It's like you're being 24 hours a day gaslit, not by an intelligent narcissist, but by one who's dumb.
Of course, it is a worry in the back of your head. I mean, we're going to be okay. It's just a matter of these people, they need to eat. I mean, it's obviously something that we can't say everything's free and give it all away, but we're definitely trying to help out as much as we can in as many ways as possible, just because we hate to see everybody struggling.
Sorry, I didn't realize what that guy was doing. I thought he was having like anxiety. I didn't understand what that guy was saying in the comments until I saw it. Like, bless his heart. Okay, I think I'm probably going to get a copyright violation on YouTube for this, but I'm still playing it because I love John Oliver. And, you know, it's like he takes tons of factual information, but then makes it sort of entertaining to hear very depressing things. So I love this clip.
To the extent Republicans have engaged with the notion that withholding food from people is a bad thing, they've tried to frame it as Democratic extremists holding people's benefits hostage. The USDA website even hosted a banner this week reading, "We are approaching an inflection point for Senate Democrats. They can continue to hold out for healthcare for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government so mothers, babies and the most vulnerable among us can receive critical nutrition assistance." And J.D. Vance, business Chucky, tried a similar line of attack.
The Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party shut down the government because they said to us, "We will open the government, but only if..."
To the extent Republicans have engaged with the notion that withholding food from people is a bad thing, they've tried to frame it as Democratic extremists holding people's benefits hostage. The USDA website even hosted a banner this week reading, "We are approaching an inflection point for Senate Democrats. They can continue to hold out for healthcare for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government so mothers, babies and the most vulnerable among us can receive critical nutrition assistance." And J.D. Vance, business Chucky, tried a similar line of attack.
Understand what he just said. This is what Trump put on a federal government website, just posting psychotic lies. So when people went to look, no, it's just that's all lies. But I'm telling you, this is what the Trump administration is posting on government websites to try to get people to believe that, which I don't know how you could believe that unless you're just like some weird bigot who wants to. Like, that sounds insane. But he's posting this on federal government websites.
The Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party shut down the government because they said to us, "We will open the government, but only if you give billions of dollars of funding for health care for illegal aliens." That's a ridiculous proposition.
Look, I'm going to...
Listen, John Oliver's going to say funny things, but I can't let all the lies go. Like, if you still believe, after I've fact-checked it 8 million times, that the federal government that Medicaid dollars federal Medicaid dollars have never, ever gone to undocumented immigrants in the history of this country. It's just not true. It's not true. Now, there were state programs in individual states that were funded by state tax dollars because, again, this is another situation of MAGA not being able to do math or understanding how math works. And because if you live, like I was born and raised in Arizona, a border state, in a state where undocumented immigrants are constantly showing up in the emergency room, here's the truth, and not the truth, but I mean, I don't want to say that like I'm going to tell you something important. If you don't know this, your brain doesn't work. Every time an undocumented immigrant shows up in the emergency room, we pay anyways, higher rates. So if you set up some sort of state program in border states or other places to lower the cost of healthcare, you end up saving. If you are dumb enough, I love when people are like, "We're canceling the healthcare for undocumented immigrants." No, you're actually making it more expensive. Surprise! They just show up at the emergency room where it's $600 a Tylenol. Preventative healthcare versus emergent healthcare. Preventative is like 1,000 times cheaper, right? If we subsidize it, if we pay into it, if we can lower and negotiate and lower the cost of healthcare, the last place we want to pay for undocumented immigrants to show up is the emergency room. That's when we are paying the highest prices available. And that's when the federal government is paying for it. Do you get that? We don't deny people healthcare. That'll be the next thing. We just let brown people die unless they have their papers and prove who they are, even though there's 45 seconds before they unalive. Like, just say you have no idea how insurance works, and when all your premiums go up in extreme ways, I will remind you of this conversation we have had. Because, again, none of you can read and or do math.
Say this once and then only 100 more times after that. Shut up, J.D. Vance, you rancid Pope killer. Please, never forget, Pope Francis met J.D. Vance and then literally died the next day. Was that a coincidence? No way, look at the Pope's face there. He's clearly thinking, you know what, it's not worth it, I'm out. There are so many things wrong with what J.D. Vance just said, not least the phrase, Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party. What are you talking about? In what universe do these two fall on the same part of the political spectrum? AOC is a progressive, while Chuck Schumer spends most of his days talking to imaginary Republicans. They are not the same. And it is worth explaining what this fight is really about, because it isn't actually over whether to provide healthcare to the undocumented who are already barred from Medicaid and the ACA exchanges. It mainly concerns subsidies for insurance premiums under the ACA, which are set to expire unless Congress extends them, which will result in dramatic price spikes for millions.
According to the Oregon Health Plan, here's how people's health insurance premiums will be affected if the enhanced premium tax credits are allowed to expire. A single person in Portland earning $35,000 a year could go from paying just over $1,000 a year to paying $2,600. And a married couple in Hermiston earning $95,000 a year would go from paying $8,000 a year to more than $33,000.
Holy shit, that is ridiculous. You don't usually expect to see prices rise that sharply on anything except for maybe streaming services. But you know what? I'm told that in exactly one of those instances, it's actually totally fine. It's normal, and it still constitutes a real bargain.
And it's worse than even that, because all of this, like, here's the thing you don't understand. Like, when, oh God, I can't even, it's painful for me to even get into this, but that's what collective bargaining is about. The more people who are in a collective bargaining situation for insurance, the lower the prices. So when people are priced out and can't pay, right, and the pool gets smaller, that is why costs are going to rise. And Trump's like, don't worry, we're kicking poor people off their health care, and that's a good thing. No, whoever can still afford, nobody will be able to afford it. Across many percentiles of income, no one will be able to afford it. The way collective bargaining works is more people need to be in the pool to negotiate prices lower. Dummies. That is why universal health care is good, because if we as an entire country, just like any other civilized country does, say, hey, and we have a lot of collective bargaining power. There's like 360 million of us, and we are going to collectively bargain together against pharmaceutical companies, then we would have more bargaining power. This is quite literally idiocy. Sorry, but I digress. But tell me, what was that guy's name? Modez, who was telling me I didn't know what I was talking about, or whatever he was saying. Like, tell me again what I don't know. You don't know anything. Keep going around lives and embarrassing yourself. That's what MAGA does 24 hours a day now. They show up, yell idiotic things, and then disappear. Okay, so I love Harry Enton's polling because I think it's interesting, and this is some polling information that he just did this morning, which I thought was great, which I'm going to pull up. I actually think I have the article pulled up already. Yeah, and there's some other math I did based on a New York Times article that I'll read after, because I find this stuff fascinating. This is mostly focused on in places, they're like, these are blue states. Thank you for the hat. Yeehaw. These are blue states. They are expected to win in many ways. Well, that means you have no idea how many elections were going on around the country, because that's not true. But most importantly, it's not about, hey, maybe this state went for Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election. That makes it quote unquote blue state, right? It's about counties and how they've shifted towards blue, right? And specifically, as I've talked about, the majority of population growth has been Hispanic. So that's what we're interested in, is the Hispanics that Trump pathologically lied to in order to secure their vote, who now have been terrorized by him, and see, hey, have they woken up now, living in constant terror? Have they got the point that it's probably not a great thing to vote for Trump? So I want to be clear, and I'll explain it in detail more after we listen to this, but it is twice as valuable to flip a Trump voter, a 2024 Trump voter. That is twice as valuable, right? Because not only are we gaining a voter, but they are losing one. So flipping Trump voters is 2x as valuable as just getting a new voter to the polls, right? So when we move people who voted in the 2024 election from red to blue, that is 2x as valuable.
Yeah, I disagree entirely. I think that the House is on fire, and he's like the dog saying, this is fine. Take a look at this. It's all about the margins, baby. Look, Democratic candidates' margins. In 2024 press in New Jersey, Kamala Harris won by 6. What happened on Tuesday? Well, right now, Mikey Sherrill's ahead by 13. That might be 14 very quickly. We're talking about a shift of at least 7 points, upwards of 8. How about in Virginia? We had Kamala Harris winning by 6. What do we have Abigail Spanberger winning by? Winning by 15. We're talking about a shift of about 9 points. If we had, let's say, an average 8-point shift across the board in all the different House seats from the 2024 press result to then what happened in the 2026 House elections, you would be talking about a Democratic gain of about 20 seats depending on redistricting. So when I see those results on Tuesday night, I see